Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. And I'm Gupta. In fact, what is happening locally actually for the very first time in your life of today, we have distinguished experts joining our panel. And if you have any questions, any remarks, or any comments, you can join our show live by clicking on the link given in the description below, or you can also send your text messages using the chat on the social media platform. So, I look forward to welcoming you live on the show. But for any case, if you're not able to join live, just send me contact messages. We will display your name and fill your question and answer that right away. So, moving on, friends, let me start with the first discussion, and that is related to this space between. There are a lot of space between a lot of activities that people are doing at the moment space, and because of this, there are certain satellites which are on the space station. They actually remain there, or if there are, they could be brought back to Earth. So, considering all this, there could be a situation where the buildup of space debris can be, can accumulate in the space. That could pose a certain threat to future space travelers and also to the future space machinery that we might have launched into the space. So, recently this has been a widely debated subject where people are saying that there is pollution not only on Earth, but the humans have been able to create pollution also in space. So it's a very highly debated, very hot topic. And if you have seen this movie, if you are fond of seeing the science fiction movies, the few years back there was a movie called Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock, where they have exactly shown how ISS was destroyed in a runaway collision course with space debris. So I think this is something which has become real now. And a few in the last week, the space station International Space Station was shifted almost 1200 meters in a different orbit, considering the fact that it was threatened by space debris. So the space debris are not really the matter of fictional matter of movies, but it has become real now. And the entire space station, as you can imagine, the size of this thing, it is more than a kilometer, almost as large as a kilometer, shifting this whole structure intact without creating any vibration in the structure while moving. It's a very difficult job. And this has been shifted almost 1200 meters in a different orbit, where there was a threat, imminent threat to the International Space Station and to the people who were actually based in International Space Station, uh, about their life, etc., and their experiment that they have been doing. So, considering all this, the International Space Station was shifted almost 1200 kilometers in a different orbit, much higher orbit. And that is how the space station was saved from colliding with some space debris. Now this was obviously done by NASA, and the best part is NASA is tracking all these space debris which are in some sort of orbit around the Earth. And the space debris could be as small as a small screw which has been left behind, and a large object, or a large even a foam, foam which is used in sealing these spacecrafts, are left as leftovers in space. Now on Earth, this foam will dissolve and basically get into biodegeneration process and then disappears, or it can be destroyed, it can be burned. But these simple things like foam can be very catastrophic to our spaceships, because when they collide with the speed of a gun, with the speed of a bullet, many times the speed of a bullet. So even a small foam can be very catastrophic for our spacecraft. And these could be very small, like a screw, small screw, but it could be a large object like a satellite, a spy satellite or something like that, which is in the orbit, but it is not functioning anymore, and its power supply is dead. So even those things are left in the orbit, especially the old satellites, which when we started sending the probes into space, the humans were not aware about this threat. So today, if the satellites are sent, they are definitely sent with a plan. In case something goes wrong with in the satellite, they should be able to, either go out of Earth's orbit or then crash into Earth, burning in the upper atmosphere. So this planning has been done, but earlier when they were sending these probes, it was not done. So once anything is in orbit, it will remain in orbit for millions of years. So I think this is why it is very, very important to make sure that we don't clutter our own space, especially the nearby space, which is there. And when we are sending our future space missions, these debris can be catastrophic for all the space going spacecraft in future. And this is why it is very important to keep track of all the space debris. In fact, we should also plan that our spaceships do not clutter the space, because these things are moving with very high speed, and even a small thing can penetrate the spacecraft and puncture it, and then the catastrophe will be very big. So therefore, this is something interesting which has happened, that the space station, a large structure like space station, was completely moved into a upper orbit, and as far as 1200 meters. So I think this is something which is interesting, and I thought I will bring to all of you. If you have any comment or suggestion, please do write in, send in your chat messages through social media. I will display them right into the stream. And if you want to join using your the link that I have shared with you, you are most welcome to join. In fact, I see one viewer who has joined, Harika, and I'm patching Harika into the. She has left the stream, I think. But then, if you have any question, and if you want to join our live stream, you can, and I will bring you live and answer your question. Maybe we can have a discussion around it. So, friends, going back to our subject, this is something which is important when we are sending people into space, and when we are also planning future missions, not only in the near Earth orbit, but we are now planning to send people on Mars. In fact, NASA has announced that they will be having a manned landing in 2025. And we are also hearing in hush hush voices that Chinese may beat NASA by organizing a manned mission to moon. So now the moon race is hot right now, where all this is happening because the humans now decided to set up a moon base so that they can then go to Mars, because it's much easier to launch spacecraft from moon than from Earth, which will eventually go to Mars. So there has to be some sort of a permanent base on moon, so that other future missions can be carried out from moon base. So moon is going to play a major role in mankind's journey towards space further. And that is why it is important to plan things that we do not, I mean, we are if we are sending a spaceship, the person who is sending it is accountable for that spaceship, every nut bolt of that spaceship. Because in future, if something is flying out of Earth and then it collides midair, even before it reaches the space, the whole the small thing can be very catastrophic for the future space missions. Friends, I'm waiting, and I'd like to know what is your comment on this subject. And we have a very interesting guest lined up for our show today. In fact, there are two of them. One is a very senior person. I will introduce as he joins our stream. Um, and as soon as this person joins, I will bring him on. Otherwise, I see one person giving any comment. I just want to see if there is any comment. No, so far, but lines are open, friends. You can actually write in and send in your comments, and also join this live stream if you have any, if you want to participate in the discussion today. So I was talking about our guest today. The guest name is Mr. Kevin Cottam, and he is the CEO of GoNomading PTE, a very seasoned, very seasoned person, well established, uh, traveled the world, and he's a international speaker. He goes and attend many conferences. So he will be joining us, and we will be discussing something very interesting uh, today in our show. The second speaker is from the she is a history professor. She will be joining at 3:15, and we will be discussing about eminent, very popular warrior from ancient India. So these are the two senior experts lined up for our show today, and I'm waiting for Kevin to join the stream. I think he will be joining anytime now. And I see certain people joining the live stream right now. And if you have any question, do write in and say in the chat that you would like to join live in our stream, and I will bring you on. So I see Ragini trying to get into the stream. So Ragini, if you're interested, you send me a chat message and I will bring you on live into our stream if you have any questions. So just switch on your camera and microphone and I can bring you on. So let me see if Kevin is able to join. Just give me a minute. So friends, the space is a big subject. In fact, there are too many aspects around space, and this is the final frontier. And if you see that there are a lot of new developments are going on in and around. In fact, there are a lot of things happening in and around our own vicinity, and we hardly understand our nearby planets also. So I will keep bringing this off and on small things, like today I have brought about International Space Station, but I will keep bringing those things to you for your knowledge. And it will be great. And in fact, if you have any comments or any suggestion, do write in and we will incorporate those ideas into our show. And if you want to participate with any of these emerging business related topic, you write in and we will organize the show for you also. I will take a short break and I will help Kevin sign in. I'll be back in just 1 minute. Don't go anywhere, friends. Friends, now we have a very distinguished guest joining us from Singapore. His name is Kevin Cottam, and he is actually very popular, very eminent. He's a well-known speaker across the world. So let's welcome him. I will just patch him in into the live stream.
Hi.
Hello, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. This is well, I've only been on Restream once, so this is a new experience again. So looks okay so far, except for a little bit of having to deal with the settings.
Of
Great to
course,
see you again.
Kevin. How are things today for you? Are you uh, are you doing well? Are you planning for your new year holidays? Are you preparing for Christmas?
Ah, okay. So yeah, I mean, I am preparing. I'm going back to Canada shortly, and that will be December 13th, and I'm very excited about that. Finally, to travel, to get off the island here in Singapore, and also to see family and friends, and to get into the cold, another season. I would like to be in a different season instead of hot, or wet, hot, or whichever. So it'll be I think it'll be cold. I mean, yes, colder than here, that's for sure. Maybe we'll have some snow, which will be great. But otherwise, yeah, no, I'm just really looking forward to get off the island and to also just ground myself in a back home. I find that being back in Canada, maybe other people feel this way, that when they go to their home place, they feel a grounding. It's like the roots are there, and sometimes we get a little, this particular period has been kind of crazy for most people, and it certainly has been up and down for myself, and I want to be very clear about that, because I think that we need to talk about the challenges that we've all had as well. But now we are seeing some opening, which is great, of travel and to being able to do that. And as you know, I'm a nomad, and so it's been the challenge for me as a nomad not to physically travel. But yeah, I'm grateful for that, very much so. And are you going to do some traveling around this time, or staying put?
I think I'm going to stay put. I am with the family. All three generations are in one place, so I think we will stay put for some more time till this wretched virus goes away from the face of this earth. Maybe I'm just waiting for good times. But you are now traveling. So what sort of you know questions are running in your mind? Is it safe to travel? I think it must be the biggest concern you must be having. Is it safe? uh, those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, interestingly enough, I mean, I've traveled so much that it was actually nice not to travel. However, so now it's like, when you have to practice, it's like practice again to travel. And yeah, I'm a little bit nervous of it. I'm nervous of all of the different sort of uh, restrictions, the implications. Do I have all of my cards right? Do I have my papers, my PCR? Do I have my, you know, do I have everything right? Is the timing right? For my flight and for my PCR? What will happen at the other side? What will happen when because I have to transit. So will there be something happening in the transit? What happens if this flight is delayed? And then, of course, it becomes a problem, right? Because you have a certain window for your PCR, and that can be a bit of a challenge. And so, am I a bit anxious, maybe as well? Anxious in the sense that I haven't traveled for a while, and so it feels a bit weird. It feels a bit weird getting on a flight with many people, if there is many people. I don't like being in close contact with so many people. I have stayed away from malls, and which is getting more packed here. But I've stayed away from, having a lot of people around me. So that is going to be an interesting place as well. I think I'm going to have to do a lot of inner focusing, in actual fact, of meditation, breathing, just, really taking one small step at a time. Uh, that is what I'm thinking that I'm going to have to do, instead of rushing through my head. Okay, all these things can happen because it's possible. But I do sense that it's probably extremely safe. It's like, interestingly enough, is that some of the safest times of flying of when there is a calamity, because more enforcement is put in and all sorts of aspects around security are put into place, and it's easier. I remember when I traveled the first time to Singapore, which was in 2001, which was right after 9/11. And of course, there was always, the alerts, do not go to a Muslim country. And I was going to go not only to Singapore, but I was going to go to Bali, and so, which is in Indonesia. And it was a no-go. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go anyway. And it was incredible because it was the best time to travel because there weren't any tourists. And that was amazing because I got incredible deals on very expensive places. But I felt sorry for the people, because that is their living. And they kept on saying, why are people not coming? And I said, well, because we're getting alerts not to come. And they said, well, we're not Muslim, we're Hindu. And I said, it doesn't matter, you're in Indonesia. And so they couldn't understand these things. And so I think travel is going to be very different in the future.
I think you are absolutely right, Kevin. In fact, there are a lot of anxiety. In fact, you use this word called anxiety. It's very, very relevant word. Uh, and you asked me, "Are you traveling?" I was very anxious to give you in response. I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm staying put. I think there is a lot of anxiety among people when it comes to travel, and consequently, let me finish my question, Kevin. Consequently, the travel industry, leisure, hotel, all these are very badly affected. Airlines, uh, absolutely. So I think when you are traveling, I'm sure you will see the flight empty mostly, but it because of the anxiety among people. What is your opinion on this situation?
I think that there's a huge amount of anxiety out there. I mean, I've had a lot of anxiousness during this period of COVID in many ways and for different reasons. But I think that this is just another one of those anxiousness that you're a bit afraid to go uh, because we don't know. We've been told, stay away from people, right? And we've been said, okay, if you get too close to people, you might get COVID. Well, I've already had COVID, so hopefully I won't get it again. But you never know what else could you pick up. But we, as I start to think about it and start to plan and I start to move into it, is the anxiousness is slowly going away. The reason I say that is that I've figured out step by step the few things that need to be done for me to get out of Singapore to Canada. And so there's not as many things as I've had to read every line at the embassy on travel and just think, yeah, which am I, and is this going to change perhaps on, from now till the travel, all of these things can make you a little bit crazy. And of course, every country has different regulations. And so that is another challenge in the travel industry. And the IATA has said that it's making it very difficult because each country has a different regulation on entry and exit. And so it's number of hours, for example, 72 hours for Canada. But it's not 72 hours for me leaving Singapore to Canada for my PCR. It's 72 hours from me from Narita, because that is my point of getting on Air Canada, but to leave towards the country. So luckily, I hope, I haven't really looked at this, that I don't have to do anything within Narita. And I've heard that this is true. You don't have to. So it'll be fine. But these things get you, we never had to plan for these things before. We just packed our bags, went to the airport, we got in, and then Bob's your uncle. We'll get on the plane and leave, get there. But no, there's all these other pieces. And before COVID, though, there was beginning to be more and more challenges of traveling, as far as I'm concerned. And longer waits, longer issues around security, all sorts of things were driving me crazy. I went through Beijing, horrible transit, taking forever just to get through a security of where you your luggage. You're just passing through the scanner. It took forever, and I just thought, what is this world? I mean, it's a hurry up and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and it can be very frustrating, and you need a lot of patience more than ever before. And I think that is an attribute and a behavior that most of us are not used to. Even through COVID, we have learned some patience, but I'm not sure when it comes to this, it gets triggered, right? So we need a lot of patience. And we also need to think, I believe, and this really is about going nomading and really understanding the nomadic mindset, is that we can't narrow ourselves in our mind, which is the instant process of narrowing into all of these little regulations, but that we need to go expand our thinking, expand our feelings, so it expands our heart, it expands our mind, so that we don't get into this craziness of this constricted and into the blocked phase, and we get blocked around it. So I think we just have to breathe a little bit more, focus on that.
So, as per your assessment, how long this thing will continue? Do you do you really feel that hotel industry or industries which are dependent on the travel and tourism will be able to bounce back in near future or in long term? Because when I was traveling during good times, I was traveling almost like 20 days in a month, and that was for many
Yeah.
years I was doing that. And people used to say, "Hey, which country you are in today, CK?" So that
Yeah.
era will come back or it will not return. What is your opinion?
Well, because in the speakers industry, we've been pretty much decimated because of there's no places to speak live, and now it's more hybrid. And now the live is starting to come back slowly. Organizations will see that they'll try this, and then eventually, I think that they will come back in that particular aspect of having live. But yes, we were traveling an awful lot, and we just took it for granted, and we didn't think about the sustainability of the planet either. And I sense that there's going to be a lot of shifts and changes. I know a lot of people in the speaking industry, for example, and also in organizations, they don't want to travel now. They don't, and I think in the future they won't want to travel so much for business as they will. It may take a few years to come back again, as they have said, that maybe 25, even 26, the year that we will be back to some pre-COVID normal. However, I don't think it's going to be ultimately this way. I sense that it's going to shift and change because of sustainability and because of global warming and whichever, that people will start to become much more conscious of travel and their footprint. And I think this is important. I will probably not travel as much as I used to, simply because it's also looking like it's going to be much more expensive, and maybe that'll take a while for it to come down. I think that we need to be much more socially conscious. I think we need to be much more planet conscious. And I believe these will start to play into some people's roles. I know one friend of mine that would travel just like you, 20 days out of the year or the month and whichever. And he said to me, I don't miss it one bit. And he said, I'm grateful that I'm not traveling, and I probably will not go back to that as much anymore. And I think that there's a lot of people that are probably thinking in this direction. Um, but we need to have very strong reasons. There's going to be an awful lot of impact on the economy of both of the hospitality and still industries, I believe. I mean, but I don't have a magic wand. And at the moment, people are clamoring in Europe. The flights are full because people want to travel. But I really hope we don't go back to that, because the challenges are for climate change, for one thing. And airlines have not got it right yet either. And they probably won't for some years if they do get it completely right. As most organizations haven't got it right and probably won't, even though they say they have a sustainability footprint, they have a program, they are dealing with the social, the sustainable goals, but that's debatable, right? And after COP26, I think that we need to think much, much more about whether we travel a lot. How do we travel? I would love to travel by land. I love traveling by train, So if that can be my way forward, it takes longer, but it's so much more interesting in actual fact.
Yes, Kevin. In fact, train journeys are always very good, very entertaining, and very long. They take forever. Not like a flight. Finish in 24. Just go there. 24 hours. You are in the other side of the earth. So train journeys are well planned. You have to know the routes. You have to know where what is available, etc. So it's quite interesting. It's a complete travel experience. Um, but I think you mentioned the important subject about COP26. Yes, Kevin, I think you were trying. Please.
No, 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 that's fine. I'm good. Keep going.
All right. So COP26, I think the whole idea is to reduce the carbon emission. And one of the biggest carbon, I mean, the environment spoilers are the aircraft, high flying aircraft, and their emission basically spoils the upper atmosphere. And considering the net zero target being taken now, do you think by the time the industry opens, there will be issues, there will be new technology, there will be new type of aircraft, there will be electric aircraft maybe, and that is why we are passing through an era where the industry will have to, take a totally 180 degrees turn. Do you see that kind of situation emerging?
Absolutely. I'm totally with you on that, Chandra. I believe that they will start to take it. If they don't, they will lose out, because if one company does it and they have this and they show it, then the others have to. Otherwise, people will not uh, fly with them. And I think, in the overall, it would be better for them because it then becomes an advantage, not only for sustainability, but it also creates more opportunities globally and for innovation. And also it shares the economy in a different way. And so these are all the pieces that can come out of this now is to really with so much digitization and so much transformation that is going on is that it can shift if we see it as a great opportunity for really building new systems and thinking new systems in a different way. I mean, this is what we need to do, but you see the people on the ground, they're not really shifting their lifestyles, and they may not shift their lifestyles. And there's other reports out, that people who are saying, no, we don't think that we need to shift our lifestyles. We're already doing enough. In certain countries, yes, they are doing an awful lot of people um, for social sustainability. You get people that there was a new article out here in Singapore that many of the millennials and Gen Zs, although only 22% feel that it's very interesting or only 22% think that sustainability and the climate crisis is important, which is very low. What do you do with that, right? It's the awareness. And so most people are thinking about their pocket. And because of rising prices, how can we think of sustainability when we can't afford things and we don't want children, or we don't have as many children because we can't afford them because of everything. So it's a very interesting period that we're in, but it means that we have to shift. We have to move in our mindsets and also our living. And, it starts with a mindset of how you see the world, how you see yourself participating in this world. And it's not just about, well, my imprint is not going to make any difference. No, it takes everyone to make an imprint, to make a difference. And it also shifts the way you look at the world. And I really believe that. And for that, we need to go nomading in our mind. We need to go nomading in our heart and our intuition to see what really works for us, each individual, but not just us as an individual, but the community.
So now you are set to travel, Kevin, and you must be packing your bags. You must be preparing your travel documents. Maybe you have been asked by some countries. about the COVID visa. Who knows? Have
Yeah. I mean,
you been asked about COVID visa?
I have been doing. I have my. I have my PCR scheduled, and I've also found out that they will give me a hard copy and they will give me another copy, but I need to go in hand with hard copies so that when I arrive in Canada, I can't just pull up the phone because it may not have Wi-Fi and all sorts of things. So, you need to have hard copies. I'm even going to have them laminated so that they are not, that I have them perfect, and so that they can't be mushed up and messed up and whichever. So I'm going to get these as passports, so to speak. And I actually have already done one. And so it's really about the timing, and it's about getting all those together. Have I packed? No, I do this thing about packing, and I visualize it first, what I'm going to take, how it's going to lay into the luggage, and then all of a sudden I just go. When I have the moment, it just visualize it and it's done, and then I just pack, and it happens very fast then. So, but this is a different packing up because I don't know if I'm coming back to Singapore. So I'm having to get rid of a lot of things and tie ends up and stuff like that. So am I really doing anything about that? I'm really procrastinating. That's all I can say. A huge procrastination on some of those issues. And then I always say, well, if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. And I'll just sort of, what doesn't, and I've also decided that what fits into my suitcases is all I take. Everything else goes. That's it. I'm
Well, I
not
think you
paying.
you
Sorry.
are actually telling a lot of people like me, senior executives across the world about nomading, and you're running an organization called GoNomading. And how do you see this initiative of yours getting hit during last 12 to 18 months?
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't understand the last part.
I'm saying that since your initiative is about GoNomading, you're asking people to reinvent themselves when they are outside with the nature. Did you see the business model getting affected by isolation of last 18 or maybe 12 months?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think my business has been really affected considerably. And that's been a bit of a trauma, I have to say, like many people. It certainly has been, for those that have been seriously affected. And it's been through a wave, right? Things started to really ramp up again, and now it's dropped down again. And I'm just really hoping that 2022 will be a very different year in a much more prosperous way as well. But I'm also having this time right now to shift a little bit of what is I'm offering at the same time as uh, consolidating my messaging, because I'm really bringing in more about the SDGs, and that's really important to me. And it's important for me to have it on my website, but at the same time, it's also important for me to live that and talk about it. So that is part of my research now, is to how do I want to be with that? What do I need to use? How can I use it? What is the best use of technology and all sorts of things? And how do I travel? And so all the different aspects. And I think that's something that has shifted. And I'm very grateful for that. And it started by being speaking at a summit in India, actually, with the SDGs, and I never thought about it before, and I absolutely adored the impact that it had on me personally from a purpose point of view, and it really gave me a different focus of why I would be there and what do I do with my work, the way I speak. And now it's always integrating that into my talks and and everything. So yeah, it's great.
So I think our display was based on the travel itself, which is greatly hampered, and I think This was something that you preparing, like many of us are preparing. Let the world open up again so that we can travel. I think that is all. We are all going to take a step outside our house. We are stuck in this digital world or a
Yeah.
hypersphere or hyperspace, we call it. But I think you're going to restart your rest of the journey on this planet Earth from Canada. So we will catch you in Canada with the same subject. But I think we will catch you with some more pressing subject next week. Um, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today and telling so many important things. And there are many viewers actually today who joined us. No questions, but I think they were listening very intently what you were telling them. So we will catch up next week, Kevin. Thank you so much for talking.
Okay, thank you so much. Namaste.
And you're free to stay in the stream, but you can drop off also if you have something more pressing. We will continue with our program. Thank you so
Okay,
much, Kevin.
great. Thank you.
Welcome back, friends. So, how was the discussion with Mr. Kevin Cottam? Did you enjoy? Do write in your comments and share your thoughts of what do you feel about travel. You are not been able to travel for so long. What is your opinion? And we will display those questions in the next episode, which is tomorrow. Or if you want to join live, you can just click on the link in the description below and you can join our show. So we will be back with our second expert. Give us a 1 minute break and we will join back again. Don't go anywhere, friends.
Hello, welcome to Akulmach Live. I'm Verma, and today we have a renowned historian with us. She's the head of the department in one of the prestigious college, currently at joining us from Hyderabad. So first, welcome her. Hello, welcome to the show, Meeta Joshi ma'am. How are you doing today? Okay, great. So actually, you know that we have discussed that we will be talking about the great king, Prithviraj Chauhan, who is considered of king among other kings in India. And you know that on 7th Jayanti is also coming forward. So let's knowing about this great king of India. What was the duration? What time he ruled India, and what were the final points as a king? Your voice, I think, is not coming. Can you just select the mic? Okay, so So I do one thing. Let's take a small break and come back to you viewers with my guest. So welcome back. And, as you know that we are discussing about the great kings of India, and today we will be discussing about Prithviraj Chauhan. So welcome back. And so I was talking to you. What was the period when Prithviraj Chauhan ruled this country? I'm up. Yes. I think I'm afraid I'm not able to hear your voice. Uh, okay, but we have a guest. Just now, can you? No, actually no. Please, can you speak a little bit? No, no, sorry, I am not able to hear your voice. So I think you have to. Okay. So I think that we just take one more break. In the meantime, let me also talk to my guest who are there on this show. So I'll be back with to you, ma'am, in 1 minute. Hello, Manisha, ready? Hello, please speak up. In the meantime, our expert will be joining us and we'll be talking about, I think, Manisha Joshi ready just disconnected, I guess. Manisha, are you there? Okay. So, Manisha, are you there? Please speak up. If you have any concern, please let us know. Okay, fine. So, we have a few more guests. Naveen Reddy is also here. So, I think our expert has a little problem in us through the voice. So, I'll just take maybe another break, or as anybody who wants to talk to me regarding any what's ongoing concern, they can join us and they can talk to us. So I'll do one thing. I'll let me take a small break again.
Hello, friends. We had a little bit technical problem with our guest today, and because of that, we were not able to uh, carry on with our usual program about history, which was scheduled. So there are many people who have joined us. I can see there are many folks. So extremely sorry. We will reschedule this show with Professor Meeta Joshi, and we will inform you and. As soon as possible, and we will come back to you on this subject. So extremely sorry, but you stay on the show. We are going to discuss something very, very interesting, and going forward, I think the news is about China. In fact, I want to take that subject very strongly. The the news about China, and that is important. I think recently we have come back from COP26, where a lot of initiatives have been taken, a lot of commitment given by India as a country. Uh, commitments are of the type that people will take care of their carbon emission and make sure that we actually as a country achieve net zero targets which have been set for the global community. So when we talk about this, we have to also talk about the another populous country which was missing from this event. Such a big event was going on in Glasgow, where some policy decisions which affects all of us have to be taken, where Russia and China decided to abstain, and they were absent to not to be participating in this very important meeting that was planned by the global community. So therefore, friends, what they were doing, I mean, why what China is not is contributing. China is contributing a lot of pollution, and they are not going to take any decision which is taken by the global community. So that is why the whole environment initiative will not be so beneficial. If even if India as a country decide that, hey, we will go ahead with electrification of electric vehicles. So I think the question everyone must ask is what China was doing, what the leader of Chinese government was doing. That was Mr. Xi Jinping. But the reality is that Mr. Xi Jinping was getting into a lot of meetings internally, Politburo meetings of the party, and deciding the next state of affairs for China. And as the plan is that China 3.0 is in the making. And when we talk about China 3.0, it is something that the China will have to do. For example, everybody is saying that China is going to go down if it continues on the same path, and others will actually get benefit. But it is not true, because China is taking corrective measures. And what is those corrective measures? If you look at the economy of China, it was completely built on the capitalism, whereas the communism, their whole ideology is against capitalism. They believe in equal wages, equality for among people. Whether you are a CEO or a simple worker, the salary will be the same. So actually they believe in that concept. However, in order to compete with the rest of the world, they overlooked this ideology 30 years back, and they developed few leaders, capitalist leaders among their pedigree, like Huawei. I mean, there are business houses which has come out from China, like Huawei, Alibaba. There are few more. There are many actually. There are electric car manufacturers. There are software companies. There are so many different types of capitalists who have come out and brought this Chinese economy using the capitalism to a different level. Now they are like pretty big. Chinese economy is pretty big, and they have overlooked the communism for some long for few years, few decades. And this is exactly what the Chinese government want to do, and that is why they were missing from COP26, because they were busy making the blueprint for China 3.0. They want to now bring back the communist policies back to their society. In fact, you must be wondering that a lot of these industrialists are missing. For example, Jack Ma of Alibaba, there are a lot of speculation about him that he's missing. He's not coming in front of the press. Huawei, there are many others. All these capitalist business leaders or business tycoon from China who are multi-billionaire are missing now, simply because the Chinese government is sitting on a totally different uh, initiative, where they want to take the next leap for China, and they want to go back to their old regime of communism, whereas they want to bring equality in some way or the other. So they are now moving away from capitalism, and they are coming out with some sort of a new method of governance, which we all will see. We are all waiting to see what next China will do. And they are already flexing their power across the geopolitical region, and they are doing too many things to stay relevant. So let's wait and watch what happens next. And friends, if you have any comments, please do send in your comments. I will display your comments straight away here, and I will make sure that your comments are answered immediately. So, friends, I will take a short break, and I will meet you with the next item very soon. Don't go anywhere. I will be back after a minute. Welcome back, friends. And I want to discuss about gravitational waves. There are a lot of waves we keep hearing, but I think the ultimate wave is a gravitational wave, which is created by the gravity. Just like the light waves, gravitational waves are also created by gravity, and how they are created, we have very little knowledge, but we can detect these waves, and by way of detecting these waves we can actually find out things which are happening, big things which are happening in this space. So gravitational waves are pretty much the things related to big things like black hole merger or two neutron stars colliding with each other. Those kind of things are happening in the space. Interestingly, and there are two detectors on earth today which can detect the gravitational waves. Interestingly, within last week itself, there were 35 detections of the gravitational events which have happened across the world, across the universe, from all over. And that is why I thought I'll bring this story to you, is about why so many gravitational waves are detected last week. I think one of the reason is that our instruments are probably much more sensitive now, so we are detecting more gravitational waves today, because gravitational waves have been happening all over, all the time. It's just that we have the instrumentation established now on the earth, so we can detect if the gravitational waves are passing by. In last week, 35 gravitational waves have been detected, and out of these 35 waves, the 32 waves have been predicted to be created by black hole mergers, and then there are three different waves have been detected about other large events, big events which have happened in the universe. So basically, this gravitational waves are detected by this apparatus, which is nothing but a very huge, humongous instrument, and one of this cylinder is almost 2 kilometers long, and they're exactly at 90 degrees. And from one of the sides of the cylinder we actually shoot very accurate laser beam, and the other side, which is the end of the cylindrical tunnel, there will be a perfectly very good quality mirror kept, which is going to send the laser back to where it originated. So in case there is some sort of disturbance or interference noticed at the time of receiving these waves, after they have come back traveling 2 kilometers on both sides, that will give us the idea to the scientists about how much gravitational wave have passed through these instruments. So that is the method we use to basically understand the gravitational waves. At the same time, there are two devices like this. When these two devices, we actually match the data and then calculate how much distortion has happened because of the gravitational wave, and that will give us an idea that because of the gravitational wave passing through the earth, the amount of distortion happened. So that will give us the strength of the incident, and also it will tell us which part of the space the incident occurred. So this is why I think the scientists are still analyzing the data received, and this week was quite exciting because I think in following months we will hear about these 35 incidents which were recorded this week coming back into reality, and scientists will be able to focus other telescopes in those parts of the universe to ascertain what are the incidents, what has happened, where are the black holes, which galaxies they were in, and we will be able to identify what are the uh, incident which have what are the events which have taken place in our space. So friends, I would like to say goodbye for today, and I will catch up with you again tomorrow in our live show. If you have any suggestions or any comments, do write in. We will take up all, we will actually read and respond to each and every comment that you make. If you want to join our live stream, you can use the link in the description below, and you tell us using the chat function that you want to join the live stream, and we will bring you on. So friends, I'd like to say goodbye for today, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow.